Welcome to the Teaching Autism and Special Education Community Podcast. Hi, I'm Nikki, a passionate special educator, autism advocate, resource creator with over a decade of experience, and you may know me as the face behind Teaching Autism. This podcast is your go-to place for practical tips, hands-on strategies, and inspiring and funny stories to support special educators all around the world, whether it's building independence, creating engaging lessons, or finding that elusive work-life balance. I'm here to help you thrive inside and outside of the classroom. Let's dive into today's episode and make a difference together. Hey teacher friend, and welcome back to the Teaching Autism and Special Education podcast. I'm Nikki, your host, and you may also know me as the face behind Teaching Autism. Okay, so let's talk about the weeks before a school break. You know the ones that I mean, when the classroom feels like it's running on pure sugar and the centre of excitement, and your students seem to have collectively decided between themselves that rules are now more of a loose suggestion. And in those moments, it's really tempting to reach for more consequences, more visuals, more reminders, more if you don't do this, you'll lose that. But here's the thing. During this time, our neurodivergent students, they don't need more consequences. They need more consistency. So today we're going to chat about why consistency matters so much more than consequences, and what that looks like in practice, and how it can make your classroom feel calmer, safer, and honestly a lot happier as we head into the holiday season. Okay, so why does consistency feel like safety? For our neurodivergent learners, predictability is literally equal to safety. When they know what's coming next, they can relax their brains enough to actually learn. But when things keep changing, different adults, surprise activities going on, schedule changes, glitter crafts that appear out of nowhere, visitors to the school, their brains just go straight into survival mode. And your students aren't purposely trying to be defiant. A lot of the times they're just trying to cope. So if you notice students acting sort of off in November and December, it's not random. Their nervous systems are reacting to all of the unpredictability that's swirling around them. Sometimes even things like when they go to their usual grocery store, and then the place that they usually get something specific every week has been moved because there's now Christmas stuff there. Even things like that can feel quite stressful and confusing and unpredictable for our learners. And then that can transfer from home into school as well. So let's think about the power of a predictable routine for a second. So what is one thing that your students can count on every day in your room? Maybe it's morning circle, maybe it's morning greeting, maybe it's the same song that you sing before transitions, or the exact way that you line up for lunch. Those little pieces of predictability are golden because they're kind of like anchors for our students. So when everything else is shifting, think of new decorations and different seating and just chaos at the end of that school term. Those small routines are what tell students you're safe, you know this, you've got this. And that consistency builds trust. And like I always say, trust is everything. Once you've built that trust, you will be able to handle pretty much anything with your students. And now for the tricky part. And this is why consequences don't always work. So when things start to unravel and fall apart, it's natural for us to tighten up structure. So more visual warnings, more timeouts, more consequences for not listening. But the issue here is that when we have a student who is dysregulated, those consequences don't actually teach anything. They just add more stress for everyone. So think about it. If your nervous system was overloaded and someone said, if you don't calm down, you'll lose your lunch break, would you suddenly feel calmer? I doubt it. You would probably feel even more anxious, to be honest. And that's exactly how our students feel when they're already struggling with unpredictability. So instead of fixing the behavior, what we actually end up doing is increasing the stress. So I'm not going to leave you empty-handed. Here's some things you can try and do instead. So there's a few ways that you can lean into consistency. Over consequences, especially in these weeks now before a break. So number one, stick to routines as much as possible. So even if the schedule changes, keep your start and end rituals the same. Morning song, goodbye routine, whatever is familiar. 2, visually show students what is different. So if there's an assembly or a party, put it on the schedule early. Use symbols and photos, even a sticky note, so students can see what's coming. Number 3, keep your tone and reaction steady. When everything else is changing, your calm, predictable response becomes their safe place. And number 4, focus on reassurance, not reprimand. So swap out that, stop that or you'll lose recess for, I can see this is hard right now. Let's take a break and then maybe we can try again. And number 5, use repetition to build calm. So consistency means saying the same things, showing the same cues over and over. Even when you think they should know by now, that repetition is regulation for them. And now for a little holiday truth. Here is something that I remind myself of every year. Before the holidays, my goal is not to create a perfect classroom, it's to create a predictable one, because that's what actually helps my students to feel successful. So when they know what to expect, I do find that the meltdowns lessen, the transitions go a lot smoother, and everyone, including me and my staff, breathe a little bit easier as well. And you know what else? That consistency helps us too. So when you're tired and you're running on candy cane fumes, you don't have to think about reinventing behavior systems every day. You just follow the routine that you've already built. This is my ultimate teacher hack. And then we've got the ripple effect. So when consistency becomes the focus, everything else is going to change. So your students are going to start to trust your cues. Anxiety is going to lower. The learning time is going to increase and relationships get stronger because your students are no longer bracing for surprises or fearing punishment and consequences. They're going to start engaging with confidence. So I remember one December, a student in my class would always bolt during transitions every single time. I tried social stories, visuals, incentives, nothing worked. Then I realized that in that 2 minutes before transitions, our classroom was the loudest it ever got. Chairs scraping, voices rising, everyone's talking, there's shuffling, there's things banging and moving around, total sensory storm. So instead of another consequence, we added one consistent step. So before every transition, I dimmed the lights and I played the same quiet music for 30 seconds. And we all had to be as quiet as we could to hear the music. Within a week, he wasn't running away anymore. He was ready because his body knew what that sound meant, and everyone else was working really hard at not being quite so loud and overwhelming as well. And that's the power of consistency right there. So, teacher friend, as we head into the holiday season and things start to feel a little wobbly, I just want you to remember this. Your students don't need bigger consequences. They need steady routines. They need probably a lot of calm reassurance and someone who's going to show up for them the same way every day. You do not need to be perfect, just predictable. And that's more than enough. Thank you for tuning in today and for being that consistent, safe place for your students. If this episode helped, I would love for you to share it with another teacher who might need the reminder this week, especially the teacher friends who may be swimming in glitter and last-minute Christmas activities. You're doing amazing things, and I'll talk to you soon.